Look that way, Jay. Hey. I'm Matt.
I'm Delilah.
I'm Jay.
And we are your hosts for
The very first podcast.
The inaugural, kinda, although there was another version.
New York City Gamer Society, the podcast?
Or is it Talking Trash?
Or Trash Talk?
Or is it Trash Talk?
Trash Cast.
You'll
Trash
see
Cast. This is
in the
another one
title.
Junior said. Yeah. It'll be all of those names as the title. So,
What is NYCGS?
thank you. Wonderful question. Great question. Made the group a couple years ago. It was essentially just me, a bunch of my friends that I knew locally, because I saw everybody was always posting stuff like gaming related stuff or stuff about movies and pop culture and shit that they were into, posting it all the time. I was like, okay, I know Facebook is a place, but what if there was a place within? I was very late to Facebook, by the way. I joined Facebook in 2013. What if there was a place on Facebook to put all these things for me and my friends to view and talk shit about and things like that? So I made the group. I don't know where the hell I came up with the name, but I just put it together and was like, all right, cool. NYCGS is a cool shortened version, even though it's pretty long. And invited like my 10 friends. And I only thought of it as like, okay, this is just going to be for me and my friends. And I forgot that they had other friends. Like, seriously. Forgot that they had friends. And they invited their friends, and their friends invited their friends. And it was kind of I think it was a closed group for quite some time. Eventually now, opened it up a little bit, let more people in. People from other states, a couple people from other countries too, I think. 1.4 thousand people.
Yep.
That's blown up.
Yeah, it's a little big. It's a lot of people. When you try to fit 1,400 people in a room, it's kind of hard. So that's how I kind of think about it. And then we had a couple meetups a few years ago. Would like to do some more. I made so many friends through the group. If it weren't for the group, I wouldn't have met so many people. Even though like we all live in the same borough and stuff like that for the most part.
Bronx represent.
Hell yeah.
I feel like I wouldn't have met so many people, through friend of a friend of a friend and all that stuff. Now Facebook is always like people you may know, and you never know any of them. It's like, well, now you do, through the little community that we made. And I wouldn't have met Delilah. I probably wouldn't have met Jay. I don't think I met you otherwise.
I met you through the comic shop, but I first spoke to you.
True. Yeah, that's right.
this.
That's right. We were working together at the shop. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So here's the thing. A lot of the people in the group have different talents. I think most prominently in the underground music scene in the Bronx, there's a lot of musicians.
Yes.
There's people that own comic book shops, which is how Jay and Matt met. There's people that make magnets, like Jay's girlfriend, Jen, who's actually back there. There's people that create cosplay, people that are really hardcore into certain things like D&D or Final Fantasy XIV. We have really passionate people that are really into niche things or popular things. And we want to bring them on to really talk about their influence, what it means to them, and kind of how they, grew with whatever said thing is. So that's the purpose of this podcast, and it will always be a segment, depending on who's on. But for the beginning, we'll just be talking about games that we've been playing within the last week to a month. Speaking about our impressions of the game, we won't give full-blown reviews because I imagine most of the time we'll be partially through the game. And for the second segment, it will be tailored to whatever person is here that has a specific specialty or passion or hobby that they want to talk about. Or unless there's a game that we're all playing and we just want to deep dive into it, then we can leave that segment open for that. So we just didn't want to be like every other podcast where we're only talking about what's new and hot. We're only talking about news. We wanted it to really be special to the people in the group. And so if it means that only the people in the group will be listening to it, that's what we want, because we want to just like hone in on each other and just like really feed off of each other and have a good time. And if it gets bigger than that, cool. Which, by the way, right here, this little background there, that's the group. New York City Gamer Society.
Oh, this one.
Yeah. You can feel free to join us. You don't have to be from New York, as mentioned before.
At first, that's how it was. And I was like, okay, I have more friends in other places, so why not?
Yeah. So feel free to join there, and maybe you can become a part of this podcast too. We'll see.
We have the technology. We have the power.
We have the technology.
We
can build him.
Yeah.
and also with 1,400 people, I would imagine that in NYCGS, not only is there a lot of talent, but we want to hear about that talent, and we want to hear, in your comments to this, and what is it that you do? What is it that makes you passionate, and what is it that makes you unique? And you may actually find that there are other people that share your passion within this. So we do want to hear about that.
Yep.
Yeah, or it can just be a topic that you're extremely passionate about that you just want to get into. So there's really no limitation to it, but we do want to keep each podcast tailored specifically to that thing. We don't want it to be about everything. We don't want to talk about The Witcher and Star Wars and Sekiro. Like, we want it to be specific to whatever it is.
Yeah, that topic, that episode, that guest. Next episode is a different topic, specific guest, only talking with that person about what it is that they do. A very personal type of thing. And we asked I think we posed the question a couple months ago, asking everybody if it's something that they would listen to, and there was a big turnout, nice, positive results. So I figured, cool, let's get together and do this. And
I saw that we got a lot. You guys got a lot of posts to that, a lot of suggestions.
Yeah, lots of
things
suggestions
that people wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
and I wrote them all down.
Yeah, we kept it all, held it together for a bit. Holidays came. I didn't want to do anything for the holidays, honestly, related to this. That'll probably change this year if this keeps going. That's going to be a fun time of the year, especially with the new consoles coming out. So yeah, I think that we would definitely keep this going when it comes out. When it comes to that point, people can listen to it while playing their brand new shiny systems. That's cool. So, yeah, I just thought of that. There you go. Write that down. Yeah, I love this group. I'm so thankful for so many people in the group. It's like so many people that I see, and I feel so much more connected to them. Not only because I know certain people collect certain things. Delilah and I are collectors as well, so we share that bond. A lot of things in common in terms of games that we like. Every time I hang out with somebody from the group, they talk specifically about the group, and then we start diving into what games we're into and things like that, getting to know people, learning about people. I feel like this can be an extension of that. And like Delilah said, if you're interested, you can be a part of this too. It really doesn't matter what it is that you do, as long as it's gaming related or within that universe, which is pretty vast this day and age.
Even wrestling.
Yeah, some pro wrestling.
Which
wrestling
is in the geek realm
games,
somehow.
Yeah, it totally
Thanks
is.
to
Man.
Kenny Omega.
They're very inspired by anime and things of that sort.
And I feel like this is able to happen because
of me. You're welcome.
Absolutely.
You're fucking welcome.
But also on top of that fact is that geek culture has become kind of the thing to be now. It's no longer a stigma to be a geek.
Yeah,
and I think that's a great thing.
It's cool. It's everywhere. Yeah. It's not like, oh, it's the fresh thing. It's seriously everywhere. People like Arby's. Come on, Arby's is killing it.
Yeah,
killing it. I wish that we had some here. Is there one in Times Square?
Yes.
We're having Arby's this week.
I don't want it. It's the new year.
Yeah.
I think there's one in Newer Shop.
Even closer.
Even better.
There you go. 20 minutes.
Less
20 minute
crazy.
drive. Here you go. That's cool. But yeah, it's so in your face and so out there and so everywhere. And it's like, oh great, another podcast where people talk about stuff that we see everywhere. Or maybe you have another preferred outlet where you listen to it. But it's a little different because you know us, and you can be on this and you can feel like, hey, I was on a podcast and I was chit-chatting with my friends, BS with my friends. And another idea that I have is to have streams with the guests, have like a one-on-one sit down with whoever I'm with, a game of their choice. I have tons of video games.
A lot.
Yeah, I have a lot of video games.
Video games.
Jay just saw them for the first time.
Yes, I did. It's the ultimate gamer's man cave.
It's not a cave yet. It's more like an alcove, and over time it will become a cave when we move. But thanks, Jay. I want to have people come over, sit down with them, play a game, stream it, real natural or casual, natural conversations, stuff like that. Where this is, somewhat scripted, but we're still ourselves. We at least lay out the groundwork for what we're going to talk about. That's about it. I asked Delilah, towards the end, we're going to talk about this. How do you feel about it? Oh, you'll just have to wait and see. Like, oh, okay, excuse me.
Don't want to
just
ruin the
moments ago.
natural.
That's what you want to
natural
do?
flow.
That's
yeah.
cool. Yeah, that's cool.
We want to be surprised as much as
yeah,
anybody
yeah,
else, you know.
yeah. Find out next time. You know, we're gonna have cliffhanger episodes and shit. Especially if this cuts out and it stops recording at a certain point. You know,
14 Dragon Ball episodes later.
yeah. Long term bookend. Hashtag long term bookend.
And in case you aren't already part of this group, a link will be in the description in case you're interested in joining.
Yeah.
You could always just find it if you just search on Facebook, NYC Gamer Society.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Plugs.
Any other questions about the group that we want to touch on before we move on to our second segment about what we've been playing?
Questions that I have.
Questions or comments?
No. I got nothing.
I guess we can
I
move
got
on.
nothing.
I actually do have a question.
Great.
What really prompted you to want to bring people together, you know, in terms of like talking games and being on Facebook, and what prompted you to want to do that in the first place?
So I feel like with the dawn of the internet, not the dawn, but once video games were strictly like an online thing, I feel like there was such a disconnection between people, like chilling, playing video games. Like I played a ton of couch co-op with a lot of my friends. Obviously, we all did.
Back in 64 days.
I really, like 64, like all the way up to like the Dreamcast, PS2, and then after that, everything went online, and it was like, oh yeah, no, I can't come over. I'm doing this, that, and the other thing. Oh, okay, cool. You know what? I'll get online. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I got to get used to this. You know, like I used to really like getting through a game with the person that I was sitting with and feeling that accomplishment. So that's why I kind of want to bring that back, not only through the group, but with the streams that I have planned also.
Okay.
We totally aged ourselves in this.
Yeah,
first
but
segment.
you know, we're a bunch of old folks, and I really miss that aspect of like togetherness and like, oh man, that was so fun, you know, type of thing. So it's cool. Like, yeah, sure, you could do it through Facebook, and you could do it through any other group, but I had the vision to like make the group my closest friends, and then they're bringing their other friends along. So like I said, I didn't see that coming. My vision was just have a community. It was more for my friends, but once they started adding people and we hit like 200-300 people, I was like, holy shit. Wow. You know, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of friends, and we all know each other, like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon type of thing. How he's been in every movie or knows everybody in Hollywood somehow because he's been in so much shit. Yeah. Him and there was that other guy, Luis Guzman, I think is his name. He's like in every movie too. But anyway, they don't give him credit for 6 degrees. So yeah, like I just wanted the togetherness. If people were like, you know, hey, what's your name on PSN or stuff like that, or what's your name on Xbox? Cool, play this game together. I'm like, all right, cool. I feel good seeing that.
Yeah.
When I see somebody post something and then I just see mass comments saying that's some nice trash you got there, I feel great.
Which is a nice insider word that we use. We change it to be more positive than negative.
Yeah, at first I was actually thrown off by that.
A lot of people are.
When I first started seeing it, like, why is everybody knocking each other?
Yeah.
Like, why are people so negative here?
Yeah.
And then it was just like, oh no, it's actually loving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice jab.
Who created that? Was that Dave Liriano or David Feliciano? One of the Daves, right?
One of them, or maybe Jose. I like to give Jose some credit too. Yeah, especially
Makes
when
sense.
thank
Y'all
you.
are trash.
Yeah, so like, you know, little insider jokes and stuff like that. You never think of that. You think, oh, okay, I'm gonna make a group, or like, you know, no different than like a forum. Which I feel like forums are few and far these days, or, you know, strictly for like research and stuff like that. You know, people asking for help with certain things. Like I remember before I knew Delilah, we had a meetup at a barcade a few years ago.
Oh God.
And she didn't show up. She's like, yeah, sorry, I had planned. Okay, whatever.
Just stay home.
So yeah, your plan was to stay home and not socialize and meet the love of your life. Anyway, we won't go there. So we're there hanging out, and she posted a video like, oh, I'm having a problem with my Xbox or whatever. So I think it was Benito who saw it and was like, yo, you see this? So I was like, yeah, we're all gonna comment the same thing. So I told everybody there, like, all comment the same thing. Sorry, busy or something. I'm busy right now. I'll get back to you later or something like that. Everybody replied with the same comment, and I was like, okay, you know. Little did I know that would come back to bite me in the ass, because when I actually did meet her, I was like, oh, okay, she's cool. She didn't want to come out that one time, but she came out another time, and it's like the time for us to meet wasn't right just yet back then, you know.
Well, I was actually recording another podcast at the time, but you know, whatever. Anyway, if you join the group and you see some like jabs at each other, we know each other in person. We're all friends, family, whatever you want to call it. And we never allow negativity in the group, and whenever we do, we try and have a conversation about it to come to terms with whatever issue that is, and then eventually, if someone's being extremely toxic, we just gotta let them go.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
No bullshit. That was another one of my intentions. No bullshit. You want to talk shit to each other like on a serious level, like
Do it outside.
do it outside. Do it on your own time. Don't do it on there. You know, I just don't want that. You know, life's too damn short and the world is crazy. Like, I want the group to be like, you come here to chill. You come here when you're stressed out, you want a couple laughs or something like that, or recommendations of what you could do to de-stress and shit like that.
Lots of good memes.
Yeah.
And also, I would imagine, like, conflict's going to happen. But you know what? At the end of the day, we're all family. In this group, we're all family. Yeah. We all know each other. And, we're all going to get along. And we've all come together for one real singular goal, which is gaming.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just to make a quick note about the podcast, we do have a lot of news posted there daily, like pretty frequently, pretty up to date. So if you are into news, you won't be getting that from this podcast unless we have something substantial to offer to that news. We don't want to just be a news source. We have that everywhere, IGN, the deal.
Yeah.
But we do post those links in our group in case you want it all in one place. Everyone's pretty on top of it. Shout outs to Jonathan Lugo.
Yeah, and aside from that, I'm thinking like we could do like mini episodes or like mini podcasts, something like that, much shorter. Maybe talking about a certain topic or like shared excitement with other people from the group about like a certain game or something like that. Just to talk about it, what will be in the game, what we think or hope will be in the game, and things like that. But not so much about news and things like this because it can get real busy, especially around like E3 and shit like that, or even like this coming holiday with the new systems coming out. So
yeah, we're not newscasters. We're not going to keep up with every single little bit of news at all.
Yeah, it's just check the group. Pretty much.
I actually get a lot of my gaming news from this site.
Yeah, same here.
I didn't know who won Game of the Year until I think you posted it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she's on top of that shit.
Sekiro.
She's like a sniper with that shit.
Which I think is a good segue into our second segment. Jay, what have you been playing past week?
Well,
week or month?
Past month I've been playing mainly 3 games. The highest of which is Final Fantasy 14, the online game. Everybody play. Also, I've been playing again Skyrim.
Yay.
And I have always been playing Civilization 6.
Oh, wow.
So those have been my 3 main focuses this past month.
I've never played a Civ game. I would imagine it's similar to like, I don't know, I could be way off with this. Just shooting fish in a barrel here.
Doggies are on our end, by the way.
Similar to something like SimCity?
Yeah, it's similar to SimCity, only more on a world scale.
Cool.
So basically with that game, on a very quick summary of it, you take one of, I think it's like 32 different nations, going China, Japan, United States, even like ancient civilizations like Khmer and things like that.
Cool.
Each one of them has a different boon or bonus to them, or some type of military unit. You pick a spot on the land and you start building your cities. You have districts that you can build and different things that have benefits towards your cities.
That must be so like
it's
very
relaxing.
Time consuming.
It's relaxing.
I'm thinking relaxing.
It's relaxing. It's very time consuming, but it's also very in depth. If you're into a strategy game, especially when it has to do with world building, this is a game to play.
Cool. That's awesome.
How do you feel that Fire Emblem won over that? Was it even a nominee?
Okay. See, now here's the thing. I love the Fire Emblem series. I haven't played the last 2. I did see, I was watching your stream for a while when you were playing Fire Emblem, and it looks fantastic. Reminded me a little bit of like Dragon Age with your choices and,
totally.
Bethesda games in general. And I liked it, but I kind of feel as if simulation games are not really getting the credit they deserve. Like you have games like Tropico, you have games
They're
like
old,
SimCity.
Man. Civilization style games have been around for a really long time.
And I don't think, except for Civilization 4 with its music, I don't think they won any awards, which is kind of upsetting because when you look at the gameplay, it's fantastic. It's very in depth, it's detailed, and that's something that anybody I feel worth their salt would like in a game. So was I a little upset? Yeah. But also at the same time, I kind of feel like Fire Emblem in and of itself is just an amazing series. I played Fire Emblem 1 through 3, and each one of those is an amazing game.
Yeah.
You know, but I was kind of upset that, you know, and again, I'm the Final Fantasy guy, that Shadowbringers did not win for best multiplayer. But
People's Choice thought it would.
Yeah, People's Choice did think it would, but you know, other games kind of got outvoted for it, because I went on to what was it, IGN, and I voted there and did things like that. But yeah, but definitely Civilization is worth checking out if you really like a strategy game, if you want to have something that you can just like sit back and relax on your own time and just figure out what you're doing in a game that you have complete influence over.
Yeah.
That's cool.
How about you, Matt?
What have I been playing? Well, I had the last 2 weeks of December off, and that's when I really started kicking things in the 12th gear. It's a Rick and Morty reference. Let's see. What did I play then? I was playing Cuphead. I beat Cuphead for the first time. Wow. That was intense.
Did
Was it intense?
did you shit your pants?
It was
Pretty much.
from rage. Yeah. I got like in the first 2 aisles in the game, I was like, all right, yeah, this is easy. And then you hit like the dragon. His name is Grim Matchstick, and everybody I talk to always is like stops at that and can't really proceed past it because it's tough. I tried playing it 2-player a while back with Ben, and we couldn't beat it. Like, I think the whole time we were there, the whole time I was there, we couldn't get through it.
Did you find it harder with a second player?
Yes, for sure. It's one of those games. It's like Contra. They throw more shit at you. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
But solo, I played it. I think it was on sale at Target. I bought it digital. Installed it, got right to it. I ran through like the first aisle, reached Grim Matchstick, had a really hard time. I think it was him when I beat him was the first time I ever yelled playing that game.
What was
Not
it
ashamed to say it. We all do
Was
it.
it in sheer joy?
Yes, it was
Okay.
out of joy. Yeah, I was like so relieved that I had overcome that. And then it's like once you reach the end of that game, King Dice and the Devil, it's like everything before that just seems so easy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, I can't believe like the difficulty spike was absolutely insane. And I'm not one. I play games to enjoy them. I don't play them for the difficulty or like to reach any sort of goal other than completing the story, and then maybe depending on what it is, some post game stuff. Like now, my goal in that game, so I'm taking a long break from it, is to go back and try to unlock the black and white mode.
Yeah.
And that's there's 6 passive levels, which means you get through the entire level without firing anything. Just make it to the end. 6 run and gun levels that you have to do in that style without. It's just running, no gunning, essentially. And once you beat all 6, you unlock that new color filter, which removes all color, and it's black and white. So it's already styled like a 1930s, show. So it's even more true with that. Aside from that, I beat Luigi's Mansion. Right now, I played through the Evo Land, the first one, which is a really fun RPG.
I'm unfamiliar with that game.
Really, really fun. You'd love it.
Okay.
You would really love it. So I know you're into RPGs and stuff.
Yep.
Basically, it starts off like an 8-bit game. And you walk up to like a treasure chest, unlock the treasure chest, you get an upgrade, and the graphics get upgraded, and then eventually sound gets upgraded. And then eventually it's going from an 8-bit game or like a piss green Game Boy screen color palette all the way up to like full blown graphics.
Yeah.
It's like a 4 or 5 hour game. Straight to the point. The inspiration behind it is super, super obvious. And then I started part 2 right after that and looked up online like how long it takes to beat it. Part 1 was like 4 or 5 hours. The second game 17 to 22 hours. I'm like, it's a little longer than I thought, but I'm guessing they just got more of a budget.
Is it an indie game?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember who the developer is, but I wound up getting a physical cartridge that has both games on it. I got it for the Switch, but it's available on like every digital shop. What else did I play? I've been playing Darksiders 2 on the Switch, trying to get through that. A lot of games I play are on the Switch. Beat Control also for PS4. Throughout that time frame, what a mindfuck that game is. The Red the red makes you crazy. All of the red in the game makes you crazy because it's so much, and that's just one of those colors that's so triggering. I guess.
I think
You know
that's
what I mean?
the design concept
Yeah,
behind
for
that.
sure, for
It's
damn
supposed to-
sure.
it's supposed to anger you, and it's not
So
raising the
twisted,
difficulty.
man.
But
No,
for you,
no.
you're getting frustrated.
It's raising
because
my
of it.
goddamn difficulty.
Well, also, like, I mean, I think everyone at this table has impaired vision. I'm wearing contact lenses.
Yeah.
I actually
Yep.
probably have
Totally.
worse vision than both of them combined.
It's
But-
like I basically equate that to the Virtual Boy. You know how that gives you a headache at a certain point. It's just all red all the time.
Yeah.
At a certain point in that game,
you're
it's
like
just
fighting,
like,
you're
oh my
like,
god.
oh my god, it's
Yeah.
too red.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna take a break. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna watch something. I'll get back to it tomorrow.
It's only red when you're about to die, but then at the very end of the game,
Yeah.
it has that red filter on for the whole time, and it's the hardest part of the game.
Oh.
If you're not doing endgame stuff, which
Yeah.
is its own thing.
Yeah.
And
So it's like you're always in danger.
always in
what it
danger.
feels like, yeah.
Red, and then the enemies have red shields, and it's just bad.
We just need a
It's
nice.
a good game, but that was bad.
We just need a nice robin's egg blue
Yeah,
to calm the mood. you know?
exactly. Yeah.
It kind of everything changed. Like at the very very end of the game, like all the color went back to normal. I was like, oh my god, that's more rewarding than beating the actual game, you
Yeah.
know, and reaching the story's end. It's like, oh, thank goodness, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, it felt good.
What about you, D?
Oh, so for the month I've been playing a lot. I platinum Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Nice.
I platinum A Plague Tale Innocence. I platinum Far Cry 5. Did I platinum anything else? Control.
Yep.
I think that's all I can remember. And I wrote full reviews on my page, which shameless plug, Assassina San.
That was on the no-no
on
list. We're not
Facebook.
plugging ourselves. No,
I'm
I'm
plugging myself. I write full reviews, and I don't want to talk about all the games that I'm playing because we can be here forever. But definitely recommend A Plague Tale, Control, and what's the other one I said?
kidding. Yeah, I wasn't listening.
Whatever. The one that's not Far Cry, New Dawn. The one that Far Cry New Dawn's the only one that I didn't really enjoy as much. Oh, Star Wars, duh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was great.
But the game I've been most recently playing, which I said it was a good segue from when we talked about Sekiro being Game of the Year, is Sekiro. Because when I got this game, it was when it first released. Because I'm a big From Software fan, as you can see, demonstrated by the sun,
I
which
thought
is
it was just the sun on your shirt.
no, it's the sun from Dark Souls. Praise it.
Praise that sun.
I started playing it, but for some reason this year was just full of so many games. Like
Yeah.
it was just jam packed. Like
Oh, and man, those Black Friday deals didn't make it any easier.
yeah,
Yeah. So Steam sales.
yeah,
Steam sales. My
yeah. There you
friend.
go.
yeah. And Sekiro is the kind of game that you need to sit down and dedicate time to because if you step away from it, you got to learn the combat all over again. And each enemy, each boss has their own style of combat. So it's not like, oh, okay, I know how to Makiri counter, I know how to parry, I know how to dodge, I know how to deflect. I'm gonna succeed against all the enemies. No, that'll help you get through a lot, but each enemy, each boss especially, has their own style of fighting. Like some have like flurry attacks, which is really fast that you could just bing, 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 deflect. Others have a little more heavy and slow, like the Shinobi Owl that I just beat today. And I freaking screamed at Junior, who's also part of the group, and our neighbor heard me scream.
I wasn't home for that. I wasn't home for that. I'm sure the cats, our cats, weren't too happy.
Yeah, he's like really long range sword and slow, but like not slow enough where you could just always get an opening. Like he has very rare openings. Having to adapt to each different boss type is hard if that's not the only game you're playing. Like I took a break from it and went back and I was like, shit, I gotta go train. Like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
There was a video that I saw recently of a monkey boss. It's like this white gorilla looking
man.
thing.
Yeah, the Guardian Ape.
Yeah, Guardian Ape. And so it has this scream that has almost no warning. And if you're within it and it's a huge radius, you're dead.
Yeah.
It's insta-kill. But then after you defeat it, it just grabs its head and just keeps attacking you.
Yeah, so
That I thought
When
was
she told me
was
about that,
crazy.
you told me about that yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
When you told me about that, I was like, oh, it wasn't the end. You're like, yeah, I'm in the second phase. I just come home last night. You're like, yeah, I'm in the second phase. I'm gonna beat him. I was like, all right, well, good luck. Go ahead, do it. And then, not even 2 minutes later, no. he took his hat off. I was like, what?
Yeah, like it's a really hard boss fight, and usually when bosses have 2 phases, you'll see 2 red dots up top of their health bar, but this one had 1 red. So when I got to the end and I finally beat him, which was not easy at first, I was like, yes, and I had victory, and then it was
That's
like,
so great.
all of a sudden he starts reanimating, and then like he grabs his head and he grabs a sword, and then I gotta fight him, and that's when he starts doing the 1-hit kill move. It's called Terror, where like it's like blood that spews out of him if you're too close, and then your terror builds up, so you have to take like some kind of antidote to get rid of it or to bring it down, so that it doesn't 1-hit kill you. And he also he throws shit at you, which was also in the first phase. He farts on you, which causes poison damage. Like, it's crazy. And when I finally beat that boss once again, I yelled and I screamed in just like pure joy and rage. And
nice.
There's not really many games that can do that for me. I think me and Matt were saying like his Cuphead is to my like Dark Souls, Sekiro, Bloodborne.
I can't play games like that. I don't have the iron will that other people have to be able to do that. It's not enjoyable for me. It's just not enjoyable.
Not even like the low end, like Bloodborne.
Can't.
No,
I couldn't get into it. Like I knew she was a fan of all that stuff, and I was like, I admired her for that because I'm like, I don't play that. I don't find any enjoyment in that. But that's the great thing about video games, like you don't have to play every single one of them. So like, Death Stranding.
Yeah.
I bought it. Played through not even half of it. I saw her continuing on, and I was like, all right, this isn't a game; it's an experience, and I'm okay with experiencing it secondhand. Right.
Okay.
So I sold it. She played through it. I got the entire story. I think I don't understand it, but I saw the whole story play out through watching her play, like playing my games or whatever, or like let's say she's traversing the world and reaches a story part, like cinematic part. I mean, I'd pause my game and watch it. So I was like, okay, I was able to ingest all that stuff, and I felt okay selling it. I didn't get all the money back, obviously, but. Yeah. It was okay for me. So like when I watch her play games like this, it's really like I find myself being more of a spectator with games like that, more difficult games like that. To me, Death Stranding was only difficult because it just takes so long to get from A to B.
Okay.
And then they throw in like a C and a D in there and stuff. And watching her play like Soul, like you played through Dark Souls recently, right?
Dark Souls 1 remaster.
Right, part 1, the remaster, right. So I watched you play some of that. I've been watching you play Sekiro, and you saw me go through Cuphead. I thought I would get through that game much quicker, but certain games, like I love action games. I very recently got into RPGs and stuff. More into action games. I love first-person shooters. I'm really looking forward to one game in particular coming out this year. Action games like Star Wars was phenomenal. Star Wars was so great, and I love the whole Star Wars universe and everything. It's a good time to be a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
And I love Legend of Zelda. Like Link's Awakening was a lot of fun and stuff like that. You still haven't beaten that. We gotta get you.
Like 2 dungeons away.
We gotta get you on that. Yeah, 2 dungeons away from the fish, and then that's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's I give you a lot of credit for the games that you play. I really, really do. And the stress is very. It's like not like you don't get mad for no reason.
Yeah.
When you play stuff.
I mean, the thing about Sekiro is like I know why I die. I understand it, and so it motivates me to like not make that mistake again. Whereas there's some games that are hard and they're just dumb. Like how did I even die right now? Like what even hit me? What did I do wrong? Whereas all the Soul games, it's very clear what you did wrong, where you can go back and not make that mistake again, and that's why I'm so drawn to them. But like Control, I fought Moth 1, which was one of the end game bosses, and I had no idea how I died, so I couldn't correct it, and it pissed me off.
That was nuts. That
made
I
me
totally
rage
understood
because I didn't know what was going on. Eventually, I figured it out, and it was fine. But I had to like look up what was killing me in order to do that, and I don't like to do that.
And I kind of feel like the simple fact that you would have to do that. The game in itself is not explaining to you what the mechanic is that is required in order to beat it. And does that speak to when you compare something like Sekiro to Control? Do you think that is a developer's issue when creating that game? Or were they trying to create something where it's a more realistic aspect. Because I've seen conversations on NYCGS as well as like other gaming websites where a lot of people are just like, yeah, but that's the realism of the game. You know, like you're not gonna have, you know, a boss go and say like, do this before, you know, it goes and charges. You know, it's just gonna attack you.
Yeah.
So what do you feel is the issue there when it comes to a non-telegraphed mechanic, and there's nothing to allow you to figure out the mechanic, as compared to Sekiro, which has those things in relative repetition, and you can figure out and understand why
It
you
just
made a
takes
mistake.
forever.
Yeah, I think the combat is just so polished that you can see what's happening. There's no guessing. There's no like red screens to impair your vision like there is in Control, where like you don't know that something's actually hitting you from the ceiling or the ground. I'm okay with games not telling me what's coming, what the mechanic is, what I should be doing against this boss. Sekiro and all the Souls games do that a lot, but I just need it to be clear that this is happening. It is a developer's issue when you have someone creating a game that's supposed to be challenging or unforgiving, but they don't do it in a way that you can learn from your mistakes. And that's the problem for me. Like don't create a game just to be hard.
Yeah.
Like not every game needs to be hard. Like I'm fine with playing a very chill game. Like A Plague Tale was extremely easy. Or even Star Wars. Like you could bump it down to story and still have a good time with it. But not every game needs to be hard. And when games try to shoehorn in and they're not from software, it just doesn't come out as good sometimes.
What's the other game that they have coming out?
Elden Ring.
There you go. I forgot the name of it. Yeah, that on PS5 also.
We don't know yet. We don't know anything.
I know that they announced some game for PS5. I can't remember what it was. Anyway,
Babylon's Fall.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Anyway,
So I know that you mentioned before that there was a game that you were kind of looking forward to in 2020.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what are games that we're excited for, and you guys excited for, in 2020?
My number one list as of right now is Doom Eternal.
Okay.
I love first-person shooters. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this game to come out. I pre-ordered it at a certain point, but then I rolled back on the pre-order, but I'm probably going to pre-order it again.
Well, it was supposed to come out in 2019.
Yeah, that's right. It got delayed, and I'm a little weary about pre-ordering games as time goes on more and more, just because they come out and they go on sale 2 weeks later. But a game like Doom, day one, I'm buying it. Love first-person shooters, especially Doom. Like Doom 2016 was phenomenal. Had it on PS4, sold it. It came out on the Switch. I bought it on the Switch and played through it then. So much fun. I love Doom.
I just love like the pace of it. It's so fast paced, and you just hear like this headbanging metal music, and you're just like that's like pop pop pop, just shooting demons.
The music was probably the piece of it that drew me to it the most. Aside from being a first person shooter, I was like, oh, okay, cool, another Doom game. But then I heard the soundtrack and I was like, oh my god. And I watched interviews of the actual composer, Mick. I can't remember his last name. He did some crazy shit to the audio files. Like he snuck in like pentagrams and stuff like that, and he like laid it into the audio file somehow and didn't tell anybody. So when the game came out, people tore the game apart looking for hidden messages, and they found it, and it was all over the place. And I was like, "That's pretty brilliant," you know.
That's
and
cool.
that got a lot of publicity, but they thought it would be bad stuff. But he inserted text that said like "Jesus loves you" or something like that, or "God loves you" or something like that. You know, to kind of be like,
kind of be a balance.
because when Doom came out years ago, they're like, "Oh, this is demonic and violence and blah 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 and satanic and all this shit," you know. And
it's so good.
Part of it, yeah. But you know, it got a lot of hate back then. And that hate and bad media is what inspired him to sneak that into this game.
Okay.
I'm not too sure if he's doing the composure on the next one.
I don't think so.
I'm not too sure. I at least haven't heard that yet.
No, I don't think. I think it's someone else.
Yeah, which makes me a little sad, but I'm still nonetheless looking forward to the gameplay for that. I'm looking forward to...
But that's like your number one.
Oh yeah, top of the list, like clear as day. Like now I'm struggling to think what else is coming out because I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah, think about it. I just want to make a quick comment about Doom. Like it was the first game that came out in a while that had like that fast-paced, claustrophobic shooting mechanic.
And I normally don't like fast-paced games. I just especially that fast. But
you can't stand still in that game.
Yeah, and that's
like you can't hide behind cover. There's none of that. You're just running and gunning and
which is
doing
what
abilities,
I love.
abilities.
I love doing that in games anyway. Like if I'm playing like a multiplayer game or like playing Gears of War or something like that, which is primarily cover. I'm like fuck the cover. I'm going in there and I'm gonna chainsaw motherfuckers. But I think that probably next to Doom, like the next fast-paced games that I played would be something like that, or like even Spider-Man to an extent, I guess would be fast-paced.
The only thing I'm worried about
stuff.
Doom Eternal is it's going to be a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be less. Doom 2016 is very claustrophobic, like I said. Like it's a small space where you're fighting a bunch of demons. Now they're going to expand it a little bit where you have a little more room to breathe, maybe, unless they're just throwing in more enemies with more space.
A little bit like Gears of War where you had a bit of more open space and you can traverse both up, down, anywhere you wanted to go, and you had places to explore.
Yep, exactly, yeah. But we don't know enough about that. I think the last they spoke about it was at like QuakeCon or something like that. But we'll see. What is your...
I haven't seen any other news about it except for the E3 Bethesda panel. But the new Elder Scrolls game.
Oh.
That is something that I'm excited for.
Yeah, that's not coming out this year.
Yeah, I know that's not coming out this year, but I'm looking forward to that, and that's honestly the only game that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Like beyond expansions to, like Final Fantasy or any other games that I'm playing. I did hear something about it's in development. It's not going to come out in 2020, but another Civilization game that's supposed to be coming out. Other than that, I'm not too excited for too many games in 2020, which is kind of unfortunate.
Well, it's kind of good too. It's kind of good too. You get to focus more on what you actually have been playing or care more about.
Yeah, but I think it's because we had such a slog in 2019 with games. And I was so excited for a bunch of games in 2019. Spider-Man was definitely one of those games that I really, really, really wanted. And now that I have it, Jen bought me that as a Christmas gift.
Nice.
But I think that's the reason why. Like there were a lot of games that I was really anticipating in 2019, and now that I'm looking at 2020, it's just like, okay, maybe there's some games that I'd get if I had the chance, but I'm not.
Wait for sales.
yeah, exactly. I'd probably wait for a sale on it, but I'm not too excited about a lot of games in 2020. Simply because, like, a lot of the games that I have now, those are the games that I wanted.
Gotcha, yeah. Do you think playing Skyrim has you more excited for Elder Scrolls 6?
Yes, and I think that's kind of the reason why. Like, I play both ESO. I play a lot of MMO games. It's something that this is my contribution to this group here. I'm the D&D and MMO guy. So I think in playing ESO and in playing Skyrim very recently over the last like 2 months or so has gotten me excited again, and I'm just eating up any news on Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, not much.
Yeah, and it's not much at all, which is why when ESO came out with their new expansion Elsewhere, instantly I got the collector's edition of it, and I ate that up because I'm just that excited about where that's going and what's going on with
it's pretty
Bethesda.
Impressive that you can play Elder Scrolls Online and Final Fantasy 14 and still manage to fit in Spider-Man and all these other games.
Well, the thing is, real quick, not to cut you off, not everybody plays one game like you do, you know what I mean? You set out on a journey with a game like Sekiro, like, okay, I'm gonna platinum this, and that's all you play. Do you get burnt out playing one game at a time?
No.
Huh.
No.
I guess I'm
he
alone.
plays MMOs, of course he doesn't.
I play MMOs.
Right, but you take a break from one and move on to another for whatever reason, mechanics or.
When you had said that, I'm kind of surprised that you play, Final Fantasy and Elder Scrolls. So I play of all the MMOs that I play Final Fantasy 14. I play Elder Scrolls Online. I play Neverwinter, and what's the other one that I play? Good Lord, I'm trying to remember. There is another MMO that I play. I play 4 or 5 MMOs at any one. Oh, Terra is another MMO that I play because it came out on PlayStation for free. Yeah. So I'm playing that as well. But I also play a lot of single player games. So yes, I play essentially 4 or 5 MMOs at a time. Mm-hmm. It's just I do take once I'm done with the storyline with the expansion, I'll take the break from it like I am right now with Final Fantasy. and then I'll just go back on and I'll do some crafting, or I'll level like another class or something like that. But essentially, I'm gonna go to another game. I'm playing Elder Scrolls, or I'm playing Skyrim, and you know, I'll do some work in there. And then of course I play a lot of PC games on Steam. But yeah, so do I get burnt out on games? Yes, if there is nothing new to excite me, which MMOs are wont to do.
Right.
Yeah.
But in general, do I get burnt out on games? No. Like if I'm playing Elder Scrolls, I can play Elder Scrolls for 8 hours a day, every single day, which I have been for the last like 3 weeks, and I'll play it for like 8 hours a day.
I just remembered another game I played, like in between Cuphead and like, okay, I feel like I accomplished enough in this game for now, even though it was like one boss, struggling to get through one or whatever. I put on another game. It was Shakedown Hawaii, which is like think of it like the original Grand Theft Auto, like an overhead, but like 16-bit view. 16-bit graphics and stuff like that. Ran through that and stuff like that. We go back and forth between that and Cuphead. I find it very hard to just stick with one game. I'm kind of struggling with Darksiders 2.
Okay.
And years ago, I don't know why, it was like a false memory. I thought I beat this game back when it was on the 360 or the Wii U. I swore that I beat it. Darksiders 1, I totally did. Had it on 360, beat it. I think I remember I probably played through it like more. I definitely played through it more than once. I'm not sure if it was on the 360 or not. Now I have it on the Switch and played through it. I started playing Darksiders 2. I was like, oh yeah, I beat this too. But I bought it because I never paid for it in the past, and I wanted to experience it again because I don't have another way to play it. I think I might have it on PlayStation 4, but I just love the Switch so much, and having the games with me, I will occasionally double dip, and that's one of the games where I guess I may have bought Darksiders 2 in the past for PS4 digital because it's there in my list. I didn't have PS Plus for a long time. I remember at one point just buying the game, and then I bought it again on the Switch. I've been playing through it, and I can only play it like maybe at most a couple hours at a time before I feel fatigued, and I'll either like stop and play something else on another system or watch wrestling or something like that just to clear my head of it a little bit. I don't know what it is. I can't play one thing for too long. I know people that just play the same game for hours and hours and hours. So that's something else I hope having sit downs, not just with you guys, but with other people, to understand how they can go for so long and not just lose it or feel like, I don't know, just become disinterested with it.
Yeah, before I go on to my most anticipated game of the year, like I'm the reason why I don't get into MMOs like you is I always feel like I'm missing out because there's so many games that come out all the time. Yeah. So do you feel like you're ever missing out on other games?
Absolutely. So when Horizon Zero Dawn first came out and I saw that, and here's the thing, so I saw that on E3, I was excited about it. Female protagonist, first of all, which she didn't seem the typical I'm coming from some important journey or important situation and I need to prove myself to, you know, the male dominated society. It's just like, no, bitch, I'm the one in charge here. I'm the one that can save you all. So now all of you have to answer to me. When I saw that in that trailer, excited me so much, I got the game.
Yeah.
I haven't cracked open the game.
Oh my god!
I started it and I never finished it. Yeah. The problem with that is the time it came out.
Yeah.
The Switch and Breath of the Wild came out, and that just overtook my whole life for like 6 days.
Yeah.
But years later, I met Delilah and I bought the game and I started it. I don't know. I just fell off because other stuff was coming out. It's just one of those things. It got lost in the shuffle.
Another game that I didn't even crack open. I bought and it didn't crack open. Was I'm forgetting the name of the game. It has a little boy and this huge like winged monster, really cute.
The Last Guardian.
Last Guardian. Yeah. That's another game that I haven't cracked open. Both of those are very storied games. That's definitely within my wheelhouse. But for some reason, like
heavy on the story.
But for some reason, it's just like I can't. I'm playing so much that I can't get back in. And, you know, I kind of blame myself because I'm playing Skyrim yet again for maybe the umpteenth time. But it's something that I know and it's something I go back to. But yeah, I do feel like I missed out on a lot of games because I am predominantly an MMO player.
Do you think you're stubborn because of that? Do you consider yourself stubborn?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Jen's over there like, yeah.
Yeah,
Can confirm.
Jen's vehemently nodding like,
He's like, I can hear the wind.
yeah.
Yeah. So.
So what are your
yeah.
anticipated games for 2020?
My number one comes to no surprise of those of you who know me in the group is The Last of Us 2. The Last of Us is
Dude,
like,
I forgot about
how
that.
can you?
Okay, yes, I forgot about that too. Okay, if I could choose,
Okay,
it would be
that's
that because
okay.
I
We
love
can
The Last of
backpedal.
Us.
Yeah, totally.
I love The Last
I'm not
of Us.
editing this episode, so
No, it's fine.
look. All right, real quick. Sorry, Doom Eternal comes out first, so I'm most anticipating that because it's coming out sooner. when I beat that and get that and beat that, it'll be a nice little span of time before Last of Us, which comes out like a day or two before my birthday. So
Yeah.
happy birthday to me.
Yeah, maybe. I have it in my calendar. But The Last of Us is my favorite game of all time, which is a statement. It was just perfect, like narratively, the characters.
Yeah.
Ellie was the first female character that I actually identified with, and she was like 12 in the game,
Yeah.
which I don't know if that says something about me, but whatever. Visually, it was beautiful. Just the design of the world building. And it was the only game that made me cry all 4 playthroughs, and multiple times in the game.
It is such. So if anybody hasn't played the game, please go do so.
It's
The
cheap.
Last
Yes.
of Us.
It's
It
cheap.
is very
It's
cheap
like
now.
$20 or less. Yeah.
Yeah, you could get it on PlayStation, on Steam. You know, pretty much any place you can play a game. Go get it.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful story. It is an excellent essay in characterization. You know, there's almost nothing bad about that game.
No,
I would have to
true.
say there's
even the
almost nothing.
multiplayer was good, which for most
Yeah, we were playing the
single-player
multiplayer
games-
for a while up
Yeah.
until like I kind of moved away from the game, but we were playing that for a while, and it was very nicely done.
Yeah, and it didn't even
Simple.
need it. It didn't need it,
Yeah, it
but
didn't need it.
was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was simple. It was just basically like hunting the other team and trying to hide, and you're figuring out like how to survive.
I think
this.
I only played
But
the
it was
multiplayer
good.
like once or twice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't really get into it.
Yeah, it was very simple in terms of like if you were to play like an FPS game like
Yeah.
Call of Duty or Apex or anything like that, but it was still very nicely done.
Yeah, and it wasn't like typical like those games because you did have to craft on the go.
Yeah.
You did have to like sneak around. It was more like stealth based than like run and gun. But yeah, I mean that was my favorite game, and it ended in a way that I was like, okay, this could end forever or this can go on. I don't know, and it was extremely controversial, like whether people feel like without spoilers, whether the person at the end of the game made the right decision or the wrong decision. There were a lot of like morality checks in those conversations.
Yes.
Whereas The Last of Us 2, I'm like, where are they gonna go with this? Like how can they, a bar set so high, how can they either meet that or exceed it? And I think if anyone can do it, it's Naughty Dog, as they have demonstrated with like Uncharted 4
Yeah.
and even The Lost Legacy. Like it just kept getting better and
even
better and
Crash
better.
Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot 2 is way better than Part 1.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Another Naughty Dog.
That
game.
is kind of apples and oranges, but sure.
I had to bring it up, so I feel like so many people forgot that they made,
Yeah,
they
actually,
made-
played Uncharted
Jen's-
4, you can't forget.
Jen is playing the
That's
remake.
very true.
Jen is playing the remake of Crash Bandicoot currently.
yeah, that's cool.
So I'm also anticipating Cyberpunk 2077, which
Avengers.
was made by CD Projekt Red, which did The Witcher 3, or all the Witchers, right?
Yeah.
Maybe all the Witchers.
I
Definitely
believe
3.
so.
And Final Fantasy 7 Remake, which
Oh.
I'm surprised you didn't say that one. I'm not gonna lie.
Here's the reason why. The moment that it was announced, I got the first class edition, so the ultimate everything you could possibly
Lots
get
of
with it.
fucking money.
$400. I dropped within
Me
5
too.
minutes.
Yeah.
Here's the reason why I didn't put that as my most anticipated. Square Enix has banked so much on the Final Fantasy VII franchise that I feel that if it's gonna succeed, it's gonna make the money. But though it's an amazing game and an amazing story, it is not what I feel, and I've been playing since 1986, 1987. I've been playing Final Fantasy, and I feel as if it doesn't embody what Final Fantasy is.
Mm.
It is a detraction on what Final Fantasy is.
Shit.
Especially this one isn't turn based.
Yeah, well, you're able. They do have something where you can put the turn base on it, so you can have either the 3v whatever enemies turn based combat with the ATP system, or you can have the action based combat. I have been following very closely the news for it. The screens look beautiful that are coming from. The video looks amazing.
Is the demo out or not yet?
The demo is currently out for companies. Yeah, it's a closed demo.
Okay.
So for companies to review it.
Because I saw it got leaked. The intro got leaked, and they put it side by side with the original.
Yeah.
And it's just so massive.
The demo is going to be coming out, I think, in the next week.
Oh, sweet.
I think it's
really?
going to be coming. I think it's going to be coming out in the next week or so.
I need to beat Darksiders. Well, it's just a demo, and you'd think how hefty can a demo be? But
it's Final Fantasy.
I think,
that's the reason why.
Somebody posted a screenshot of how large it actually is. I can't remember. It's something crazy.
Yeah, they actually expanded what they were going to do with Midgar. And how one of the most famous scenes is traversing in the area is when you go through the train graveyard, and now they put so many in-depth areas into the train graveyard that it kind of expands the feel of it and what you're able to do with it, and it's essentially that's the reason why this original part of the game, what they're going to be releasing first, is just going to be from the beginning to Midgard, but they're also touting it as at least 30 to 40 hours.
So you're gonna add a lot,
which is insane.
Yeah, because it's only a few hours in the original, right?
Yep. It's you can complete it, I think, in anywhere, if you're doing everything, 8 to 12 hours in the original version. But that's the reason why I didn't put it on, because to me it doesn't embody what Final Fantasy has always been. That's, you go to Final Fantasy 9, you go to Final Fantasy 14 even, and that's what it is.
Gotcha.
But Last of Us.
Yeah.
Now that I completely forgot that was a thing coming out this year. So that's something that I would definitely put on my list. And also, you mentioned you quietly Avengers.
Yeah, Avengers.
You quietly mentioned that.
Yeah.
Here's another reason why I'm not putting that on my list, is because I think the game still needs some work.
Yep.
Square Enix is really good at making their games, but I think it needs a lot of work.
Did you play it? Did you play it at Comic-Con?
I did. No, I didn't go to Comic-Con, unfortunately. I think it needs a lot of work. I saw many videos of the combat system, and the combat system looks comprehensive. That's not a word you should be using when it comes to a combat system. It looks comprehensive.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really look too exciting in terms of its combat system. The graphics look pretty good. I did notice that from their original video release at E3, and then something that they showed a couple months later, that they did beef up those graphics a little bit.
Yeah.
And the storyline looks interesting. Oh, okay, cool. Some crap is going down in New York City yet again. And
always New York.
Yeah, always New York City.
I thought it was San Francisco.
Oh no, yes, because it's the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, it's Golden Gate Bridge.
Which is nice for a change.
Yeah,
give New York a break.
And give New York a break. Yeah. So something's going down in a major city. The place blows up. Captain America dies. We gotta figure out what's going on with the Avengers.
Or does he?
Because of course we know we can play as Captain America.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the game needs a lot of work.
Yeah, we played the demo at New York City Comic Con, and it was fine. The combat was actually very simple. Each Avenger has their own moveset, and it's mostly the same buttons. There's very little differences, which is maybe unfortunate, maybe not. We'll see, because there's a mode where you can play with people, which I'm interested to hear more about that, because we only got hands-on with the single player.
Yeah, single player. Lots of screens and everything, but no multiplayer implementation yet, which I was a little sad about.
But it was extremely cinematic. It looked good, but it was simple. It wasn't, which is fine, but it just didn't do anything different from any other game. And I think for an Avengers game, you have a lot of fans that are going to come in expecting a lot. And it was okay. It wasn't bad, but I want them to work on it more. Like you said, it needs a lot of work.
It will in no way, shape, or form be Spider-Man. And I hope I don't eat those words.
Or Batman.
or even Batman. Any of the Batman games.
See, and that's actually something that was a little surprising to me. I don't understand why Square Enix didn't go back and look at games like Spider-Man and like Batman and kind of implement something that would be like a marrying of the two combat systems.
Yeah.
You know, like your active combat with Batman that you're able to counter and things like that, but then also like your other kind of reactive combat where depending on what's going on around you, you have options in order to modify. Your environment modifies your combat. You know, they could have done something with that.
I'm sure it's a lot easier to do it with like one hero, like those games, which is probably why they had to like dumb it down a little bit, because those games, like, you feel like you're playing as Spider-Man, you feel like you're Batman, you know, whereas the Avengers you're playing as all of them, and it's like there's only so much they can do. If they flesh that out where like every single character feels like that character, then I maybe they would have burnout. I don't know.
The cool thing about the demo was that you get to play as each character, but no matter who you played as, they all felt the same, except for I think like the Hulk was probably my favorite of the ones you could play as.
And Cap.
Cap. Yeah, I just wasn't. I don't know. It kind of felt like they were similar. I remember liking Cap and the Hulk, especially the Hulk. Everybody else felt the same. You know, I felt like it was the same person, just a different skin. You know, that type of feel. Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, whatever.
So I think that about wraps it up, unless you guys have any final thoughts.
Not really.
No. Yeah, that was
Everybody
long.
play Final Fantasy 14.
And The Last of Us.
And The Last of Us.
Get ready for The Last of Us 2. We're hoping for our second episode to talk about Final Fantasy VII, because it'll be out in the end of February or beginning of March.
Something like that.
Yeah, and then March, perhaps have Jay and Dyson and Junior come on board and do a deep dive into Final Fantasy 14. But we're not married to that idea. We might do something else. We do want to hear feedback, like if you feel like it's disorganized or you want us to talk about different things or any kind of feedback, constructive feedback, please. Don't just be like, this sucks, bye, because that doesn't help us improve. If you want to say that, I can't tell you what to say, but it'd be nice to hear constructive feedback, whether negative or positive, of what's working, what's not, because we do want this to grow. We want this to get better so that we're not just recording in our kitchen, and maybe we'll be recording somewhere nicer, and we want to get more people on, so, you know, let us know in the comments what you think.
Yeah, we do definitely want to hear from you guys. You know, we're here because you're here. Yeah. And we want to make sure that we hear your voices and you're just not listening to ours. So please comment on the video and give us your feedback and just let us know how we did and, you know, what you want to hear.
And if you want to come on.
We're going to be doing polls and stuff like that at a certain point to kind of get an idea of what you guys want to hear, what topics and who to have on in order to be able to talk to those topics. I think it'd also be cool to have some people on that are curious about stuff that maybe we don't know things that we can learn about together, something like that. I don't know. Or maybe save that for like streaming if it's a game that people haven't played. And we have access to it, come over, play it, have fun, you know, stuff like that. This is gonna come out. I have this crazy idea of adding an intro and an outro to it also, so I'm really trying to pull that together. I have this, it's a crazy idea.
Things are in the works.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. It may or may not be on this episode, I'm not sure, but in the future it's gonna happen, and it's gonna be added to the other podcast potentially. This was fun. I had fun. She's already doing a bunch of podcasts. He's a friggin' natural, and they control the whole show. So thank you guys for running and gunning this one.
Well, thank you, host.
You guys carried me. Yeah.
Thank you, host, for having us.
It's not easy to host.
I wasn't really thinking of like a host thing. I just felt more like we're gonna sit and talk, and we know what we're gonna talk about, and that was it. So I wasn't thinking like, I gotta drive it this way or that way, whatever. But it was just a very natural thing.
Yeah.
So onward and upward and all that stuff. Thanks for watching, comment and all that stuff. We'll see you in the group. We might see you here if you want to come through. Thanks for watching, listening, however.
Peace.